the passenger asked the person in the driver if he can shoot him. And then the person in the driver said yes. And then he hopped out of the street, was shot. And then he drove off.
Ma'am, I'm gonna cut your seatbelt, okay? I'm Officer Lepper with the Denver Police Department, okay?
This is like a big deal. This isn't like, oh, you stole a car and didn't go to school. Like, someone lost their life, dude.
It started as a minor tap at a red light, a simple fender bender. But before the driver could even react, a hooded figure stepped out and unleashed nearly 20 rounds into the car. The victim was a 32-year-old mother with no criminal record and no ties to the street. She was simply heading home after dinner. Why was she targeted, and who was hiding behind the trigger? The motive behind this teenage attack is something that will truly shock you.
I'm sorry, Mom.
Saturday, February 20th, 2021. It was a typical cold winter night in Denver. The kind of night where most people are already home, tucked away from the chill. But for 32-year-old Pamela Cabriales, the night was still full of life. She had spent the evening at Ocean Prime, a high-end restaurant in the heart of the city. She was there with her close friend, Letitia, sharing a meal, talking about the future, and enjoying a rare night out. To those who knew her, Pamela was a force of nature. She wasn't just a successful real estate agent with a bright career ahead of her. She was the heartbeat of her family, a daughter, a sister, and more than anything else, a mother to her 6-year-old son, Leo. Every move she made was for him. As the dinner ended, Pamela said her goodbyes and walked to her white Range Rover. She was heading west on Colfax Avenue, a straight shot toward home. She had no way of knowing that her path was about to cross with a group of teenagers who had spent their night looking for trouble. At approximately 10:45 p.m., Pamela approached the intersection where Colfax meets Interstate 25. Ahead of her, a dark Honda sedan was stopped at a red light. Maybe it was the glare of the city lights, a slick patch of road, or a split second of distraction. As Pamela came to a stop, her Range Rover rolled forward just a few inches too far. It was a minor tap, a fender bender in the truest sense of the word. In any other circumstance, this would have been a 5-minute inconvenience, an exchange of insurance information. But inside that Honda, the reaction was instantaneous, and it was deadly. Witnesses sitting at the same red light watched in horror as the Honda's door swung open. A figure stepped out into the middle of the road. He was young, shorter than average, maybe 5'6", wearing a dark hoodie pulled tight over his head. He didn't walk back to check his bumper. He didn't yell. He didn't even look at the damage. He simply raised a weapon and opened fire. One witness, a woman named Jaden, was sitting in a car nearby. She heard the sound first, a rapid succession of pops that she initially mistook for fireworks. She looked over just in time to see the muzzle flashes lighting up the dark intersection. She ducked, fearing the bullets would come through her own glass. Another witness, Alex Martinez, saw the shooter clearly. He described the cold, methodical way the figure stood there, unleashing a hail of lead into the windshield of the Range Rover. 8 rounds shattered the front glass. 12 more tore into the metal body of the vehicle. In less than 10 seconds, nearly 20 shots had been fired. As the echo of the gunfire faded, the shooter stepped back into the Honda. The car roared to life, tires screeching as it accelerated onto the I-25 on-ramp, disappearing into the night. Behind them, at a quiet red light in the middle of Denver, Pamela Cabriales sat motionless in her driver's seat. She was still wearing her seatbelt. Her engine was still idling. The woman who was just minutes away from kissing her son goodnight was now the victim of one of the most senseless acts of violence in the city's history.
Ma'am, I'm gonna cut your seatbelt, okay? I'm Officer Lepper with the Denver Police Department, okay?
Inside the vehicle, he finds 32-year-old Pamela Cabriales. She is slumped over, still strapped into her seatbelt. The violence of the attack is immediate and undeniable. Officer Lepper moves with frantic precision, reaching for his medical kit while attempting to keep her conscious.
Here, I'm just going to keep some pressure on him, okay? Yeah. Hey, she took quite a few about 4 or 5 rounds to the face.
How many? Is just she the only victim?
She's the only victim. She's only bleeding.
As paramedics arrive to take over, the scene transitions from a rescue mission to a massive criminal investigation. Officers begin a search of the vehicle, looking for anything that can identify the woman in the driver's seat. But as they sift through the glass and the debris, they realize something is missing. There is no ID, no wallet, only an empty bag left in the passenger seat. For a moment, Pamela is a Jane Doe at one of Denver's busiest intersections. But as investigators begin to count the shell casings, 8 in the windshield, 12 more in the metal, they realize this wasn't just a random act of violence, it was an execution.
See if I can find an ID in her purse. Yeah. I don't know how you want to do this. You want to put the seat back so we can get to her?
What's your name? Can you tell me your name?
What's your name? I'll get over with you. Hey Scott, hold that seat.
It's not going.
Is there anything behind the seat? No.
Call electric. Hang on, I've got it.
Alright, they're just about ready.
I counted 8 shots.
8?
Yeah, there's one right above the left windshield wiper. So that's 2 out of, like right there.
License plate, that's probably hers.
That's the same one as the on the back.
Okay, that's probably hers. Hey, you got gloves? Nitrile gloves?
I got 1.
There's just one here, pick it up, and there's one over here, pick it up.
Are you okay? What's your target?
I photographed it.
The trail for Pamela Cabriales' killer remained cold for exactly 24 hours. But on Sunday night, the silence was broken again. Under the neon glow of a McDonald's sign on the other side of Denver, the same dark Honda was spotted. This wasn't a stop for food. It was another targeted attack. Surveillance cameras captured the muzzle flashes as multiple rounds were fired into the night, a chilling mirror of the violence on Colfax just one day prior. The Denver police now knew they weren't dealing with a one-time incident of road rage. They were chasing a crew on a violent spree. When a patrol officer spotted the Honda, Nishan Johnson slammed the accelerator. At speeds over 70 miles per hour, the car screeched into a residential neighborhood near West Byers Place. The car bottomed out, sparks flying, and the suspects realized the vehicle was no longer an escape, it was a trap. They abandoned the car and fled on foot. This is where the surveillance footage tells a story of pure desperation. Cameras in the neighborhood captured 2 figures sprinting from left to right. They are moving fast, looking for an alleyway, a fence, or an open door. But as they reach the end of the block, they see the flashing lights of the police perimeter closing in. Seconds later, the same 2 figures appear again, this time sprinting frantically from right to left. They are running in circles, trapped in a tactical box created by the Denver police. They aren't looking for a way out anymore. They are looking for a place to hide. Eventually, the suspects found what they thought was a sanctuary, a small wooden shed in a nearby backyard. When the canine units finally converged on that shed, the police expected to find hardened criminals. Instead, they found teenagers. But it was what they found on the floor of that shed after the suspects were pulled out that changed the case from a maybe to a certainty. Spent shell casings, 9mm brass. The ballistics matched the rounds found at the Colfax crime scene exactly. In their haste to hide, the suspects had left the smoking gun evidence right where they were huddled in the dark.
And for police to respond and arrest all 3 suspects.
Nishan Johnson and his passengers would later claim they had been napping all day. They claimed they knew nothing about a shooting. But as the detectives prepared the interrogation room, they knew the back-and-forth footage and the brass in the shed told a much darker truth. The first suspect into the interview room is 14-year-old Remy Cordova. Because Remy was only 14, the law was very clear. He could not be interviewed alone. As the camera in the interrogation room hums to life, we see a haunting sight. Remy is sitting at the table, and right beside him is his mother.
I'm going to advise you of your rights, and then I'm going to leave the room, and you two need to talk about whether or not you want to talk about this investigation or not. Okay?
Before Remy can offer any admission of guilt, his mother cuts him off. As the officers return to the room, the mood changes. It's clear she isn't going to let the interview proceed. There are no long explanations or denials from Remy. He simply follows her lead.
I'm done, so I feel like it's something totally different. Yeah.
Are you guys done talking?
Yeah.
I'm going to turn the video back on, okay?
Yes, sir.
Do you have my phone number?
With a quick signature on a refusal form, the interview is over. The officers shut off the video. Remy Cordova stays silent, but for the investigators, the silence doesn't mean they are in the dark. They already recognize his face from their system, a name linked to gang activity and a juvenile record that speaks for itself. With Remy's refusal, the detectives hit their first dead end. They had the physical evidence from the shed, but no one was talking. The pressure now moves to the other rooms. The investigators know that while a 14-year-old might stay quiet under his mother's watch, the older suspects might be more desperate to distance themselves from a murder charge. They turn their attention to the driver of the dark Honda, the legal owner of the vehicle, and the person who led police on a 70-mile-per-hour chase. His name was Nishan Johnson, the man who claimed he had nothing to do with the violence because he was fast asleep.
So, Nishan, I just want to figure out what's going on, what happened. If you could just kind of take me through the events tonight, where you were, what was going on, who you were with, and don't worry about me writing. You don't need to catch up. Just go and I'll catch up with you. I'm just taking down some things. Don't worry about any of that, okay? That's just for me. So if you want to just start, work backward or forward, however you want to do that. I mentioned westbound Colfax I-25. Do you know what I'm talking about with that?
No.
Okay. Well, let's talk how just your night went where you were. Let's start with that.
I was with my auntie and my god sister.
Okay.
It was like Jewel. It's like behind. It's Federal and Jewel behind the McDonald's. I was there all day with them and chilling with them, and then I left. But around 12, 11? No, it was like 11, because I think police got behind us like around 12 o'clock. So they came and picked me up at 12.
When you mentioned 12, are we talking 12 noon during the day or 12 midnight at night?
Like towards night.
Okay.
I was there, I was at my baby mom's, then I left. Then I went to my cousin's, and then my partners came to pick me up.
From the moment the camera starts, Nishan's vibe is different. He isn't huddled in a hoodie like Remy. He's relaxed, he's talkative, and he has a very specific story to tell. He claims he was napping at a friend's house for the last 24 hours. He tells the detectives he has no idea how his car ended up at a crime scene on Colfax. But the detectives have a problem with that story. They have surveillance footage of the car. They have the chase. They ask him, if you were just napping and had nothing to do with the shooting, why did you lead police on a high-speed pursuit? Why were you found hiding in a backyard shed?
Why? Tell me more about why you didn't stop.
Cause I don't have no driver's license, I ain't gonna lie, that's the only thing. If I had a driver's license, I'd pulled over. But I don't have no driver's license, so.
Nishan's first instinct was to make the chase sound like a simple traffic mistake. He hoped that by admitting to a minor crime, driving without a license, he could distract the detectives from the murder investigation. But he wasn't just running. He was hiding.
So tell me more about getting into the shed.
I was just in the shed and I went to sleep. After I went to sleep, I hear people. And then that's when I was in the shed and that's when the dog came in.
Okay.
Dog come in. I'm surprised the dog didn't attack me. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I'm slick blessed today. The dog didn't exactly attack me. He smelled me, walked away, smelled me again, walked away. And then after that.
It is one of the most bizarre alibis in the history of this case. Nishan claimed that after a high-speed pursuit and a crash, he didn't hide to escape. He hid to take a nap. He even acted surprised that the canine unit didn't attack him immediately.
And who was telling you to go?
Little bro. He was like, bro, just go. You feel me? I mean, don't have no license. You feel me? I'm not finna pull off.
Did little bro say he was hot?
Nah.
Did he
say, nigga, go.
Okay.
You know how nowadays this young generation gonna run from the police or do anything from the police now, you feel me?
So you listened to him. So you listened to him and you went.
That's how it was. You feel me? Type shit.
Okay.
As the detectives pushed harder, Nishan's relaxed vibe started to crack. He finally broke the code of silence and put the blame on the 14-year-old in the passenger seat. According to Nishan, it was Little Ro who was calling the shots.
Did Lil Ro or the guy in the car talk about being on one or being that they had a heater in the car or being concerned about the police bumping you guys up with anything in the car?
See, they didn't tell me trying to worry about nothing. They was like, big bro, cool, you feel me? It was like, I guess they were trying to hide it from, cause I get on their ass, you feel me? If y'all doing something stupid, you feel me? Come to my house, nigga, we could eat, food, treat, whatever y'all want, y'all could come to my house. Y'all don't have to do no dumb, you feel me? Cause nigga, I just got through done doing that. Group home, foster home, so I don't want to be done in and out of jail. Nigga, I got 2 kids. I got 2 little girls, so nigga, anybody younger than me, I take them under my wing and I try to show them anything better.
Okay.
This was Nishan's final attempt to humanize himself. He tried to frame himself as a mentor and a father, someone who would never involve himself in a violent crime. He was banking on the detectives believing his character over the evidence. He didn't know they were already holding the smoking gun. Nishan Johnson had already painted himself as the innocent big brother who was just following orders from a 14-year-old. But the detectives weren't done testing that theory. Across the hall, they were sitting down with the third man in the car, the one who had been with Nishan and Remy from the moment the shots were fired on Colfax to the moment they were dragged out of the shed. If Nishan was truly napping and Remy was the one in charge, this was the man who could prove it. Or he was about to provide the detectives with a 4th version of the truth.
Do you know what I'm talking about? At Colfax and I-25? Tonight? Or what happened last night? Can you take me through that, just from the beginning there? Who you were with, what was going on?
I was with my friends.
Okay.
He was driving. Right down I-25, whatever. And then we stopped, and then the car hit us in the back, smacked us. And my friend in the front, he asked the person in the driver's seat if he could shoot at him. And he hopped out and started shooting at him.
I didn't hear you quite. So, if I have this wrong, correct me. You said you were stopped at a light.
We were stopped at a light, and someone came from behind us and smacked us with their car.
Okay.
And then that's when my friend and the passenger asked the person in the driver if he can shoot him. And then the person in the driver said yes, and then he hopped out and shot, and then he drove off.
Okay. How many people were in the car with you?
2.
So there was how many total, including yourself?
2.
Including
3.
3?
Yeah.
Okay. Where were you seated?
I was in the back seat.
Okay. Who was driving?
My friend's friend.
Okay. Do you know his name? Do you know what he looks like? Yes or no?
Yes.
If you saw a photo of him, do you think you could ID him?
Yep.
Okay. Can you tell me if he was black, white, Hispanic?
Black.
Okay. About how old was he?
19.
Okay. The car behind you guys smacked into you.
Yes.
Your friend Remy asked the driver if he could shoot this person?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know. He just asked him and he said yes.
Okay.
And when he started letting off, I told him to get back in the car.
Okay. Tell me more about when Remy gets out of the car.
He pulls the chop out.
So you say the chop. I know what that is. Aaron, your mom may know what that is. People watching this later on may not know what that is. What is a chop?
AR-15.
AR-15?
Yes.
Okay. What color was that?
Black.
Black. Anytime did you get out of the car?
No, I told him to get back in the car.
Okay. And what does he do? Tell me more
He
about
just
that.
kept shooting and then he finally got back in.
Okay.
After I started yelling at his.
Okay, how many times did he shoot?
He let off like 7 rounds.
Okay.
In this room, the napping alibi was completely destroyed. Aaron didn't describe a driver who was asleep. He described a coordinated execution. According to Aaron, Remy didn't just fire on his own. He asked for permission, and he got it. This testimony turned a case of bad timing into a case of first-degree murder for everyone in that car.
How hard do you think the car smacks you from behind? Tell me more about that.
Smacked him up like this, hit my head.
Okay.
And then that's when Remy started getting mad. And that's when he asked him if he can shoot him. And he hopped down and started shooting at him. And then that's when I was like, get in the car, nigga, what are you doing? Like,
Okay. Was there any verbal exchange between the person that hit you guys from behind?
hell no.
Okay.
He just hopped down and started shooting it.
Okay. So the car smacks you guys. What do you do after Remy gets back in the car?
I told him to get in the car. And then the person in the driver skirted off. Down Colfax.
Okay. Where do you guys go down Colfax? To where?
No, I don't know exactly where he went to his empty house, but we went down Colfax.
How far?
Like we just went straight down until when we got to like Union.
Okay. And then what do you do?
That's when we went to his auntie's house.
Okay. Where does the auntie live?
I low-key don't really remember. I was sleeping.
Okay. Were you asleep when you pulled up?
Yeah.
Remy shoots. What does he do with the AR?
Puts it in the car. And
Where at in the car?
He put it in the back seat.
Okay. Where you're at?
Yeah, on the left side.
Alright. Where are you seated?
On the right side.
Behind the driver or behind Remy?
Behind the passenger.
Okay, so you're behind Remy.
At first he puts it in the car and he has it next to him, like right here on the floor.
Okay.
And then he puts it into the back when we're going down Colfax.
After the shooting?
Yeah, after when we get closer to his auntie's house.
Okay.
But that's when I just fell asleep. I don't really remember nothing else.
Before you fall asleep, what's the discussion in the car about what just happened?
They don't even say nothing. They're not even talking.
Okay. At any point, even after Auntie's house, do you guys talk about this?
No, because I got woken up to getting yelled at. The cops are chasing us.
Okay.
And then that's when we crashed.
All right. Tell me more about being woken up. The cops are chasing you guys.
Remy was like, bro, the cops are chasing us. They're behind us, bro. They're behind us. And then I woken up and I was sleeping in the back. And I was like, what? And I looked behind us and the cop is right behind us following us. And then the driver starts going fast and then the cop turns the lights on. And then we go down this one street and we hit a big pothole. And then that's when the car went up and then he lost control. And then I just...
Let me get to the point. Were you in a shed? Yes or no?
No.
Never in a shed?
No, I wasn't in the shed. I might have been in someone's backyard, but I was not in the shed.
Okay, if you were in a backyard, who were you with?
I was with the driver.
Okay. What'd you and the driver discuss?
We didn't discuss nothing. I was just like, bro, I'm not finna get in trouble for this. And I just walked out the alley, but I was like, I do not care. Like, bro, I didn't do shit.
Okay.
With Aaron's testimony, the detectives had exactly what they needed. They knew the napping story was a lie. They knew the driver was awake. And they knew the 14-year-old didn't act alone. It was time to head back into Nishan Johnson's room for the final time and show him the one thing he couldn't explain away.
You know why I'm asking all these questions? Because the shed you were found in, those shell casings match at our murder scene. Can you explain that to me? And you said nobody's in the shed with you. Okay? You're in there by yourself. But the same caliber shell casing that's in the shed where you're at is the same caliber at our murder scene. Can you explain that to me? If nobody handed you anything?
No, nobody handed me nothing.
Okay, so how did that end up in the shed with you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I ain't gonna cut it.
I don't know.
Okay.
As the interrogation rooms went dark, the question remained, why? Why would a 14-year-old fire 20 rounds into a stranger's car over a minor traffic dispute? The answer lay in the world Remy Cordova was trying so desperately to join. Known on the streets as Little Ro, Remy wasn't just a passenger. He was a juvenile looking to elevate his status. In that subculture, violence is currency. By pulling the trigger on Colfax, Remy thought he was making a name for himself, proving he was cold enough for the street. Instead, he showed how easily a young life can be spoiled by the pursuit of credit. A 14-year-old's desire for a reputation turned into a lifetime of regret, leaving a trail of destruction that no gang title could ever justify. The legal system did not show leniency for the age of the suspects. The evidence, the ballistics, the GPS data, and the witness testimony was too overwhelming. Despite being only 14, he was tried as an adult. He was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 40 years. For his role as the driver and coordinator that night, he was sentenced to 35 years in the Department of Corrections. Due to his cooperation and testimony, his path through the system was handled separately, though the weight of that night remains permanent. While the suspects began their decades-long sentences, a family in Denver began a life sentence of their own. Pamela Cabrielis was just 32 years old. She was a real estate agent, a beloved sister, and a daughter. Most importantly, she was a mother to a 6-year-old son who now has to navigate the world without her.